Welcome to our podcast, where we delve into carefully chosen English words to enhance your vocabulary.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope this extensive discussion sparks your curiosity and language growth.
Today, we will discuss the words minor, pollen, commonly, inability, potentially, fatal, and lump. Let us begin with minor, which means not very big, serious, or important.
This word can describe slight inconveniences, small injuries, or unimportant details.
A common collocation is minor issue, indicating a problem that doesn't require urgent action.
Another collocation is minor inconvenience, which often appears in customer service apologies.
You could hear someone say, "It's just a minor scratch on the car," meaning it's not severe.
Doctors sometimes talk about minor surgery, referring to procedures that are relatively low risk.
In music, the term minor chord has a particular sound that differs from a major chord.
Minor detail is frequently used in conversation to show something is not highly significant.
A minor offense typically leads to lighter consequences than a serious crime.
People often overlook a minor mistake when they understand human error is normal.
If someone calls a delay minor, they probably expect only a brief wait.
Even a minor misunderstanding can be resolved quickly with clear communication.
Minor changes to a contract might require minimal paperwork or quick negotiation.
We often say, "Don't worry, it's minor," to reassure someone that the issue is small.
Let us move on to pollen, which is the powder produced by some plants.
Many people experience allergic reactions to pollen in the spring season.
A frequent collocation is pollen count, which measures how much pollen is in the air.
Meteorologists often report the pollen forecast to help allergy sufferers prepare.
Bees collect pollen as they pollinate flowers, playing a crucial role in ecosystems.
Pollen allergy is a common phrase describing sensitivity to tree and flower particles.
You might see pollen visibly dusting your car or windows in certain months.
Some regions have different pollen levels depending on local flora and climate.
Washing clothes can help remove pollen residues if you've been outside for long.
Staying indoors when the pollen count is high can relieve allergy symptoms.
Over-the-counter medications treat pollen-related sneezing, runny noses, or itchy eyes.
Air purifiers also help trap pollen and improve indoor air quality.
Next, let's discuss commonly, meaning usually or very often.
You might say that smartphones are commonly used for both work and entertainment.
A frequent collocation is commonly accepted, describing ideas or practices most people agree on.
Another collocation is commonly referred to as used to introduce well-known terms.
It is commonly believed that eating well improves overall health and longevity.
Certain words are commonly mispronounced if people are unfamiliar with them.
Some items are commonly found in most households, like a microwave or television.
Environmental issues are now commonly discussed in mainstream media.
Grammar rules are commonly taught in schools to establish standard writing skills.
Cooking herbs such as basil and oregano are commonly added to Italian dishes.
Historical events are commonly misrepresented if sources are unreliable.
It's commonly assumed that once a habit forms, it takes consistent effort to change it.
Moving on to inability, which is the fact of not being able to do something.
A typical collocation is total inability, describing a complete lack of capacity.
Another collocation is demonstrated inability, showing proof that someone cannot accomplish a task.
You might see inability to pay in legal contexts, referencing financial hardship.
The inability to focus can stem from stress or other underlying issues.
Sometimes an inability to adapt quickly hinders success in a fast-paced environment.
If someone exhibits an inability to communicate effectively, misunderstandings may arise.
You might read phrases like an inability to cope with pressure in psychological articles.
An inability to drive can limit job opportunities or independence in certain regions.
Serious injuries might result in a temporary inability to walk without assistance.
Employers might question an applicant's inability to meet tight deadlines.
Therapists help clients address the inability to handle anxiety or depression.
Next, let us consider potentially, referring to something that may possibly happen or become something.
A common collocation is potentially dangerous, implying a risk if conditions worsen.
You could see the phrase potentially rewarding in discussions about investments or career moves.
Potentially successful ideas might require research and resources to flourish.
Scientists test potentially groundbreaking technologies to explore new frontiers.
Law enforcement warns people about potentially harmful scams that circulate online.
A new medication could be potentially beneficial, yet needs thorough trials before widespread use.
Designers look for potentially innovative trends that might shape next season's fashions.
Teen drivers are potentially more prone to accidents if distracted by mobile devices.
Some conflicts are potentially resolvable through proper dialogue and compromise.
Now we move to fatal, which means causing or ending in death.
A frequent collocation is fatal accident, describing a crash that results in loss of life.
Another collocation is fatal disease, indicating a medical condition that leads to death.
Fatal error can also mean a critical mistake in software or a crucial operation.
Soldiers face fatal risks in combat zones, emphasizing the seriousness of their duties.
A fatal dose of poison underscores the lethal nature of certain substances.
Some reckless behaviors, like driving under the influence, can have fatal consequences.
In literature, a fatal flaw is a key shortcoming that leads to a character's downfall.
Healthcare campaigns aim to reduce fatal outcomes from preventable conditions.
Severe weather can prove fatal for those unprepared in extreme climates.
Lastly, let us discuss lump, which is a swelling under the skin that can be small or large.
A common collocation is small lump, often noticed by individuals performing self-checks.
Another collocation is lump sum, though that term refers to a single payment rather than a swelling.
Doctors sometimes recommend scans or biopsies to examine a lump more closely.
A suspicious lump in the breast warrants immediate medical evaluation.
You might feel a lump in your throat when you're anxious or about to cry.
Bakers might find a lump of flour in the dough if it's not mixed thoroughly.
Athletes with injuries occasionally notice a lump forming where there is swelling or bruising.
If a lump doesn't shrink, seeking professional advice is crucial for proper diagnosis.
Sometimes a benign lump under the skin might be a lipoma, which is typically harmless.
Let's explore more examples and explanations for minor.
A minor detail can shift an entire investigation if overlooked by detectives.
Students might receive a minor penalty for late submission, as opposed to failing the assignment.
A minor delay in flights might be announced as a short hold on the runway.
If an actor suffers a minor injury on set, filming can resume quickly.
Tensions over a minor disagreement at home can escalate if not addressed promptly.
Even minor errors in a contract can lead to misunderstandings in business deals.
Software updates often fix minor bugs to ensure smoother user experiences.
Let us offer more scenarios involving pollen.
A windy day can spread pollen far beyond the plant's immediate area.
Doctors encourage people to wear masks outdoors during high pollen counts to ease allergies.
Certain apps track pollen levels in real time, helping users plan outdoor activities.
Some honey lovers appreciate local varieties rich in pollen from specific flowers.
Garden enthusiasts might choose plants that produce less pollen to reduce allergens.
Extra insights on commonly can enhance your daily vocabulary.
People commonly greet each other with a handshake or hug in many cultures.
Car problems like flat tires or dead batteries are commonly encountered by drivers.
Junk food cravings are commonly triggered by stress, boredom, or convenience.
Let us give more examples involving inability.
If a device has an inability to connect to Wi-Fi, the user must troubleshoot network issues.
A cat's inability to climb might indicate a hidden injury or joint problem.
An inability to concentrate can ruin study sessions or professional tasks.
Now, deeper exploration of potentially.
A new marketing campaign is potentially a game changer if it resonates with the target audience.
Each investment is potentially risky, no matter how solid the initial data appears.
Taking a class in a new language is potentially beneficial for international career paths.
Additional insights on fatal.
A fatal wound in medieval times often resulted from infected cuts lacking modern medicine.
Neglected safety protocols at construction sites may lead to fatal incidents.
In certain stories, an ancient curse can carry a fatal penalty for those who break sacred rules.
Further context around lump.
Over time, a lump of dough can rise significantly if yeast is active.
Doctors track any suspicious lump to ensure early detection of serious conditions.
Pets sometimes develop a lump beneath their fur, prompting a vet visit.
Now let us provide collocations and broader usage for minor.
Minor setback describes a small obstacle that temporarily slows progress.
Minor inconvenience emerges in everyday speech for trivial disruptions.
In legal contexts, minor can also mean someone under legal adult age.
More collocations with pollen.
Pollen season marks the stretch of months where allergies spike.
Pollen allergies is a direct phrase combining the allergen with the reaction.
Pollen grains refers to the microscopic particles themselves.
Additional collocations for commonly.
Commonly misunderstood points out concepts that are frequently mistaken.
Commonly known highlights universal knowledge or facts nearly everyone understands.
Commonly used phrase applies to idioms or expressions in everyday conversation.
Extended collocations with inability.
Inability to function might describe serious burnout or mental health struggles.
Inability to repay relates to finance, signifying a default on loans or debts.
Inability to comply arises when someone cannot follow rules or meet requirements.
Broader usage for potentially.
Potentially problematic alerts one to possible issues needing preemptive solutions.
Potentially beneficial signals hope for improvement or success in a given area.
Potentially explosive can describe tense political situations or emotional conflicts.
Expanded usage for fatal.
Fatal flaw in literary analysis is a trait causing a character's downfall.
Fatal outcome points to an end result involving death or irreversible consequences.
Fatal collision underscores the gravity of a vehicle crash causing loss of life.
More collocations for lump.
Hard lump might indicate a growth that needs medical evaluation.
Soft lump could be a cyst or fluid-filled swelling.
Lump in one's throat remains a metaphor for emotional tension or nervousness.
Let us explore a practical scenario using minor.
A driver might say, "I had a minor accident, but the car still runs fine."
Another person might brush off a negative comment as a minor annoyance.
Frequent minor headaches could point to stress or lifestyle issues.
A scenario for pollen.
You might see bright yellow pollen coating your car each morning during spring.
People with pollen allergies close their windows at night to avoid waking up sneezing.
Some carry antihistamines to counter sudden pollen attacks on the go.
A scenario for commonly.
It's commonly advised to drink plenty of water for overall health.
People commonly leave reviews online when they're extremely satisfied or dissatisfied.
Small talk about the weather is commonly used to break the ice in social situations.
A scenario for inability.
Someone's inability to remember names might hinder networking.
If a student shows an inability to meet deadlines, instructors may recommend time management counseling.
Some job applications are rejected due to an inability to demonstrate required skills.
A scenario for potentially.
A promising business plan might be potentially profitable, yet requires investor support.
A hurricane forming off the coast is potentially dangerous if it makes landfall.
Genetic research is potentially groundbreaking, offering cures for rare diseases.
A scenario for fatal.
Neglecting seatbelt rules can have fatal outcomes in a severe collision.
Certain diseases that were once fatal are now treatable with modern medicine.
Wildlife experts urge caution, as some animal encounters can be fatal if mishandled.
A scenario for lump.
Healthcare professionals stress checking regularly for any lump in breast tissue.
Bakers remove every lump to ensure smooth batter for cakes and pastries.
A painful lump on the foot might be a sign of an ingrown nail or callus.
Next, let us further expand on minor with more context.
Minor disputes often arise among siblings but seldom lead to lasting animosity.
Politicians sometimes focus on minor points to avoid tackling major policy issues.
Minor benefits in a job contract might include free coffee, as opposed to health coverage or paid leave.
More about pollen in real life.
Gardeners often research which flowers produce excessive pollen to limit allergy triggers.
Some people try local honey containing pollen to build immunity against mild allergies.
Opening windows during peak bloom could let in a surge of pollen particles.
Further exploration of commonly.
It's commonly said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Another example is, this design flaw is commonly found in older models of the device.
Historical facts are commonly modified in movies for dramatic effect.
Deeper look at inability.
The inability to speak a local language can make travel challenging, but also a learning opportunity.
Someone might develop an inability to trust people after betrayal or trauma.
Overcoming this inability often involves therapy or long-term personal growth.
Additional insight into potentially.
A new vaccine is potentially effective against certain strains of a virus.
Disruptive ideas are potentially the key to pioneering a new market.
The phrase potentially unstoppable can describe unstoppable momentum or progress.
More views on fatal.
A fatal oversight in a company's plan could lead to bankruptcy or failure.
Certain stunts in extreme sports carry a fatal risk if performed without proper gear.
Some real estate purchases become fatal to finances if the property value plummets.
Expanded context for lump.
A lump in a sauce indicates the cook didn't whisk thoroughly.
Occasionally, stress may manifest physically as a tight lump in your back muscles.
A doctor might ask, "How long have you noticed this lump?" to gather diagnostic clues.
Let us create a long scenario weaving multiple words together.
Imagine someone noticing a minor cough every morning, suspecting pollen might be the culprit.
They think it's commonly just seasonal irritation, but their inability to breathe well at night grows concerning.
A doctor warns that ignoring symptoms could potentially lead to a more fatal condition if untreated.
During the checkup, the patient discovers a small lump near the throat, prompting further tests.
Despite initial anxiety, the final diagnosis reveals the lump is benign, merely a minor cyst.
Now, let us give an extended summary of each word and how you can integrate them.
Minor stands for something insignificant, small or not severe, also used for legal age references.
Pollen describes the powdery substance essential for plant reproduction but triggering allergies.
Commonly relates to frequent, usual occurrences or widely accepted beliefs.
Inability speaks to a lack of capacity or skill to do something, often with potential consequences.
Potentially points to outcomes that might materialize depending on conditions or actions.
Fatal denotes deadly or profoundly serious consequences, often used for accidents or diseases.
Lump indicates a swelling that can be physical or figurative, requiring caution and observation.
We hope these explanations, examples, and collocations clarify each term's depth and everyday use.
Incorporate them into your conversations for more precise expression and better language fluency.
Join us next time as we explore more English vocabulary with fresh perspectives and detailed scenarios.
Thank you for listening, and keep practicing to make these words a natural part of your speech. Wishing you continued success in your journey to master English vocabulary and comprehension.